However, this time, things went down a little differently. Don't forget to hit subscribe and smack that bell button to become an honorary Fear Raiser member so that you never miss a video. Woo! Oh my God. Whoa, it is nasty out there. It is super I forgot my equipment's in the way. Woo-hoo! Oh my God. Whoo! Whoa! Let's do that again. Oh my God! Oh my goodness. You do not want to go out there. It is nastier than the YouTube comment section. Super white, super white, super white. Ah, there we go. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to 2019, where apparently it's freezing cold, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Will this be the year my channel comes back to life? I don't know. Subscribe and find out. Okay, so let's be real. You're here for the story. You want to get the juicy details, and allow me to tell you. Come over to my couch and it's a futon. Let's go to my futon, and I will tell you the story. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know who owns that.
Your mom.
Here, you know what? I'm warm. I'm taking this off. So, most kindergarten memories are pretty cute and wholesome, to say the least. You know, when you reminisce back in the good old days of that first time you stepped in elementary school, beginning your journey from kindergarten all the way up to grade 12. Or at least, that's how it's supposed to go. I, however, was not as lucky to be able to reminisce on cute memories because, well, you're gonna find out in today's story. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's news story.
Oh my God, don't touch me.
Back when I had just began my first day in kindergarten, it was quite a scary experience to say the least. Most children around that time had never really been put in a situation quite like school, and me being the kid I think I remember I was, excitement was the furthest thing from my mind when attending day one of kindergarten. You see, this wasn't just any regular kindergarten class that I was being put into. Oh, no. My parents had decided to put me in French immersion. Here in Canada, it's standard to learn French, and I guess my parents were hoping that I'd pick up on the second language quickly at a young age. But if I'm being honest, learning a second language at 6 had to be one of the most complicated things I went through at that age. It's actually quite common to learn a second language, especially if your main, your native tongue is not English. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure a large portion of the human race can speak 2 languages at least. And they say that when you're young, learning a second language is the best time because you're just, you're young and you absorb all that information and you're just, you know what I mean. That, however, was not the case for me. Isn't that right, Mr. Bear? That was not the case. He doesn't know. We don't know each other. That was not the case for me. I was terrible at French.
We sleep together every night, man.
So here I am, a 6-year-old kid now put in a class to learn French, and right off the bat, I could tell things were gonna get a little bit complicated. That's when I first met our kindergarten teacher, Mr. McDonald, an older man in his 40s who clearly had a preference to the French language over English, and boy, did that become a problem for me. I mean, literally the first time I realized our teacher was speaking another language for the majority of our class, in that moment, I realized that learning French was not going to be my strong suit, and so began my first dreadful year of school in this situation. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with learning a second language, but I can assure you, it is no walk in the park, okay, Mr. Wise Guy sitting there think it's easy. It's not, okay? Oh, God, this is, you know what? This couch isn't working. I look like an alien. I look like a supervillain. French, Spanish, Chinese, I don't know, man. They're all hard, but they actually say that English is, in fact, one of the hardest languages to learn in the world because it's like a mash of other languages, and it's confusing, but anyways, that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is, until you've given it a go yourself, you will truly never understand the struggle. So something that used to happen to me a lot was that I would get a lot of nosebleeds. Why? I have absolutely no idea. But it happened often, and well, I would always have to awkwardly dash to the bathroom anytime I would get them, since it would hit me like a ton of bricks. When I started my classes in kindergarten, this soon became a big problem for me, as I found myself having to now speak French to go to the bathroom, regardless of the reason. One of the first ever bad experiences I had with Mr. McDonald definitely stemmed from having to speak French to literally do anything without reason, and well, you guessed it. Often when I got nosebleeds, I would essentially have blood running down my face before he would finally just let me go, because he would get frustrated that I wouldn't ask to leave in French. So yeah, I didn't exactly grow fond of Mr. McDonald. Man, you know, I actually used to get quite jealous when people used to talk about their fond memories from kindergarten. I also noticed a strange pattern as well from each year being good, bad, good, bad, good, bad in terms of like the teacher I got and stuff like that. It was kind of weird, actually. But if there was one thing that I was envious about the most, it was about the kindergarten class next door. A class where a teacher by the name of Miss Blonde had fun activities going on and just always had a great time, and all the kids were always talking about how great their day was while we were over in our class suffering, and I, of course, was struggling the most. As time went on, as I'm sure you can imagine, I began to grow more and more frustrated as a 6 to 7 year old, and continuing to have complications with learning French because I also just didn't care for it, and it only pushed my frustrations even further. It's not healthy being stressed at a young age, and the fact that my teacher, my first teacher at that, made me feel as uncomfortable during class did not make for a good start in my school years, okay? As my frustrations grew, so did my temper, which would eventually lead to my confrontation with Mr. McDonald. Now, my parents knew that I was struggling in this class, but at this point, school was almost done and over with, and it would have just been better to ride out the tide than to just change direction now. So for the next few months, this would all continue. However, near the end was when I really started to become a big problem for Mr. McDonald because, well, I wasn't taking his crude teacher behavior anymore. If I had to go to the washroom because of a nosebleed, I would ask and leave regardless if he said I could or not. This would oftentimes bring me to the office, but I didn't care. I would always explain to them that I'm struggling with French, but nothing was ever done, and so would lead to many more complications before I would finish up my year in kindergarten. So things continued to suck during this time in school, and something that I didn't really seem to realize, you know, being young and all, but my parents quickly did, was that my nosebleeds were kind of getting a little bit worrisome. You know, not to get into too much detail, man, I thought I was gonna die, okay? And as frequent as they seemed to be happening, it certainly became quite the concerning situation, especially for the people around me. However, this would soon lead to a very complicated situation for Mr. McDonald. One day in class, I happened to feel a nosebleed yet again coming on. This, of course, led to the typical exchange of me attempting to speak French to ask to go to the washroom, butchering it, and me just leaving regardless of his answer. However, this time, things went down a little differently. As I asked to go, he had stopped me and stood in front of the door out of the class, confronting me and telling me that I'm not going to go because I was too disrespectful. Being told this at around 6 years old is pretty intimidating, but come on, dude, I'm practically a baby still. This soon didn't turn out great for Mr. McDonald, as this nosebleed happened to be one of the worst I ever got. Of course, as this all began to happen, you can only imagine how the other kids felt, and well, I ended up just dashing out of the class regardless, because it's pretty embarrassing and also a little slightly dramatic to just be covered in blood, as I'm sure you can imagine. So I leave, run to the bathroom, pretty much upset considering I had just been in a yelling match with my teacher, and ended up being sent to the office because of what happened. Now, I can only imagine what it's like to teach a class full of kids for a living, you know, but I think it's fair to say that this situation that I was in was not handled properly by the teacher. And I mean, here I am, 24, recollecting this memory like it was yesterday. People don't seem to realize that kids are quite impressionable, and you know, if you think that that little thing you did that was like whatever to this little kid was no big deal, they'll remember for like the rest of their lives, okay? Like me, right now. Do a zoom, Robin. Do you see the look of sadness on this face? Do you see the look? Look where I am. I made Minecraft videos for a living. I was traumatized, man. Needless to say, Mr. McDonald had a lot of answering to do, as both the office and my parents were not impressed with how the situation was handled, and not too long after, he ended up retiring from teaching class. If there was any lesson to learn here, it's that if you're gonna teach kids for a living, make sure you've got the patience and the understanding to do so. Well, anyways, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you did enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. Thanks to Robin for editing this video. Robin is now my editor. Robin, please show yourself to the audience. Great guy. Great guy. But either way, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Did I say leave a like and subscribe? I say that so much these days. Man, I don't even know how many times I've said that. But if you like what you see, you know, feel free to stick around is what I'm trying to say. Either way, I'm going to go back in that blizzard now, so I will see you in the next video. And guys, I look forward to a very fun, successful, and entertaining 2019. Okay, I gotta go. It's late. See you later. Bye.